This is a View from the Bridge official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 17th of February, 2026. Happy Shrove Tuesday, one and all. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm joined by the Belfast Giants statistician and a man who likes to help out on the bench. That's Mr. David McGimsey, and the local hockey legend, one of the big men behind the scenes. That is Mr. Simon Kitchen. Over the next hour or so, we'll be bringing you all the news and views of the Belfast Giants and the Elite Ice Hockey League. You can catch us on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. You can get us on all the really good podcast providers. If you're watching in live, you can get us and chat on down the side. We're seeing all the things. Hello to Daniel, hello Anthony, hello Paul. We're seeing all those ones coming in as they chat along. And we might see some of them on screen on this week's show. It's a 1-goal deficit for the Belfast Giants as they go into the second leg of the Challenge Cup semi-final against the Coventry Blaze on Wednesday night. We'll have a look back at that first leg. It was a split weekend in Nottingham. Would we have taken that when we went in? Let's talk when we look at those. We'll be joined by Piccinich, and I'll be looking ahead to see how we feel we are in the title race as we go just over around 15 games. Around 15 games remaining of the season. Mr. McGimsey, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well, thanks. I've promised Simon that I would have the stats all updated for him before tomorrow night, so that's why I'm looking down at the minute. I was writing some stuff down. I've got to get this done in an hour, lads, so I can be spending the next 3 hours doing stats for Simon.
Never stops, Mr. Kitchen. Never stops, does he? Got to get it right for you. Got to get it. Sometimes do a proper job.
Just have to crack the whip every once in a while, you know.
You're watching the Winter Olympics?
No.
Nice.
It's on in the background, mate. It's absolutely brilliant. The whole, not just the hockey. I love everything about the Winter Olympics. I think it's fantastic.
I was watching the earlier on this evening. I was watching the freestyle skiing big air where they come down and they go flip up. I've never seen, like, I can do it myself. I just don't want to. It was one of those where you just the flipping around and doing all the tricks as they come off, and then just because they can, they land backwards. Yeah, whatever, lads. Me and George.
Absolutely. I was watching the luge and the skeleton and the Jamaica bobsleigh team. It's like taking me back to 1986 and watching the Cool Runnings. Fantastic.
There's another one coming out. I think it's I hope to do. Is it the luge relay where they come down, where the luge comes down, and then there's a big board at the bottom. They have to slap the board at the bottom that opens gates at the top, so the second guy can come down. Some crack that. I think that's the next few days. I think that's in the next. So I remember from the last Winter Olympics. I think that's in the next few days. Love it, and I agree with Gregor Galway there. Biathlon. I've become an expert in biathlon the last week or two. Ski on the flat for 5 kilometers, and here's a gun. Flipping hell. Some crack. We enjoy it. But listen, enough of that. There is some great hockey on there as well. And I think, I'll bring up who you think are going to win later in the show. But let's crack on with the Belfast Giants, who had 3 games in the last 7 days, the Challenge Cup semi-final and 2 games in Nottingham against the Panthers. Let's start with that Challenge Cup semi-final. It was a 3-2 lead at the halfway point for the Coventry Blaze ahead of tomorrow night. Let's hear from the coaches in that game.
That was really intense hockey game. I thought it was fast. Obviously, I really loved our start. Hoppo getting on us on the board was huge. And then it was just hard. It is a playoff game, right? It feels like a playoff game, so everything gets tighter, structure gets tighter. I thought we did a good job in the second dealing with their push, particularly, their transition. I thought we were fairly organized, getting underneath and at least getting good blocks and good sticks. And the third was very mature. It was a very mature game in the third period out of us. Michael Pellick was a true pro. He showed why he's played 1,000 games with face-offs and blocks. And, Grayson Constable, Connor Russell, they're selling out for blocks. A lot of guys are doing the invisible stats you need in the first half of a Challenge Cup semifinal. And it's really cool. And it's cool seeing the guys be connected with each other. Like, they kind of pulled a Steve Nash where everybody was kind of making sure they were fist bumping, connecting, being there for each other, and it was pretty cool to see. So loved the invisible stuff, loved the hard work, and as always, we're going to be present on this one and move on to the next.
I thought it was a very good game, playoff-style game. I thought we were pretty good tonight. I thought we did more than enough to either be even or in the lead tonight. Ran up against a hot goalie. We wore him down a little bit there to get two. I thought we made some mistakes there, and Gravy came up big for us as well. So, that's good. It's a 120-minute game for a reason, right? So I liked our game tonight. Just didn't capitalize on enough chances to be even or in a lead. But we have to go home and win a hockey game, and I'm okay with that.
Goal scorers for the Coventry Blaze were Jack Hopkins, Kim Talberg, and Grayson Constable. For the Belfast Giants, it was Ben Lake, Scott Conway. Matt Robson and Alexa Gravel were the two goalkeepers. For the referees were Joe Sewell and Andy Miller. Is some really interesting comments, Davey, that are coming from both coaches. But the first one came from Kevin Moore, an intense game, and it's hard to disagree.
Yeah, I actually thought over the course of the 16 minutes, we probably did enough to probably be in front in this game, certainly if not tied. But Adam said it there, you win a hockey game at home, everything's on the line. There's a big prize here for winning tomorrow night. And we talked about this last week, that we were going to Coventry. We were talking last Tuesday night, we're going to Coventry the next day. It was about still being in the game when you go back to Belfast, and we're very, very much in this game. I thought it was a good enough performance. Of course, we didn't want to give up the early one, but I thought we really pushed back really well. Good defensive performance all around. I thought Gravel was great in nets. Give us a chance to win or be level in the game, and our forwards came through well in the second half of the game. And I thought that again, I just thought we probably did enough to win that game.
So we get for doing YouTube highlights and not downloading the highlights there. We get adverts in the middle of it. I agree with Davey there. Says I thought that there were times, large portions of this game where we were by far the better team. You heard it from the coach there as well. We came up against a hot goalie. We know what Matt Robson can do in this league. We know how good he is, and he showed how good he is. We could have been level. We could have been up in this, but a 1-goal deficit ain't that bad.
It's not, but when we get grade A chances and we don't punish the opposition, it sometimes come back to bite you in the ass. And I genuinely, Davies, and you heard Adam talking as well. I genuinely thought we did enough to win this game. But you need to be ruthless to a point. When you get those chances, you need to bury them, and we didn't take them. Matt Robson, as you said, is a top goalie. To be honest, he's right up there in the top 2 or 3 goalies in this league this year. I think he's really, really good, and they depend on him an awful lot. But the Coventry Blaze, I don't know what it is about the Blaze this year with us. They match up really well against us. All the games we played against them has been a 1-goal game. So you're going to expect a similar game tomorrow night. I think it's you're looking to. I think tomorrow night's game is vitally important to get the first goal. I think if whoever gets the first goal. If they get the first goal there, they could sit back and just basically, as Jose Mourinho used to say, put the bus out. So it's going to be very, very difficult. I think if, we need our fans to turn up tomorrow night and make a big noise and make them feel very uncomfortable coming into the building. And I just feel that we've got a really good chance here. One more game and you're in a final. You're playing for a championship. There's some of the players on our team haven't done it before. There's quite a few players and the Coventry team haven't done it before, and the Coventry Blaze haven't been in a final for a while. So, that this means a hell of a lot more to them, in my opinion, than what it does to us. Adam's got one eye on the league championship, of course, and the rest of the boys are probably exactly the same. They want to win the league. It's a marathon 54-game challenge, and this Challenge Cup, don't get me wrong, this trophy we've won now 5 times in the last 7 years, and it's a trophy that we want to hold on to. But it's going to be a very, very difficult game, and it's not going to be made any easier with facing the Coventry Blaze, because they are a good outfit. They play a really tight game, and Matt Robson, we need to get in his face tomorrow night. We need to make it very, very difficult for him to see the puck. But I still fancy our chances.
They said coming out quick and trying to basically nullify that 1-goal advantage. Interesting comments as well. First of all, the Coventry Blaze. I think that Sunday's loss to the Sheffield Steelers this weekend was their first regulation loss since the 27th of December, which is a remarkable run of point scoring. Grant Mismash, I think, is also on a hell of a point scoring streak that continues, must be 13, 14 games of point scoring. One thing, Davey, I took away as well is, and you get this a lot from Kevin Moore, talking about the Steve Nash approach, the unseen things, the fist bumps, the camaraderie, the fact that the Coventry Blaze are probably a stronger side as a team than they are as individuals because of what they have as together on the bench.
I'm not sure that I would say that the Belfast Giants aren't exactly the same.
Not suggesting always, but I would.
I'm not here to pump a Coventry Blazes tires.
Maybe not, but would you not agree to the fact that maybe the way that the Coventry Blaze have been on this streak for the last point scoring streak since the turn of the year is the fact that they do have some good coaching and they do have.
Some we talked about Kevin Moore and some of his rather abstract training methods and coaching skills that he possesses. He's got a team that struggled through the first half of the season. He made some really inspired changes, guys that came in, hit the ground running, and have turned other players around as well. You talk about Grant Mismatch there, maybe didn't have the strongest start of the season. Elijah Bregan maybe didn't have the strongest start, and those two guys are now flying. Pars came in, done really well for them. They're getting great goaltending out of Matt Robson. They're a good all-round team who just didn't, when we talk about starting on time, they didn't start in September. They took a little bit of time to get going. And when in this league, you can't, but they're right in the hunt for the cup. And as Simon has said there, almost all their eggs are in the cup basket here. So I'd imagine tomorrow night they're going to come out just for the piss and vinegar, ready to go right from the start, and we've got to be able to match that. You do talk, I don't know what numbers are like for tomorrow night, Simon, but quite happy as a Belfast Giants fan. Last Wednesday night, there was only about 1,200 in. Mm-hmm. I thought that was an opportunity for them to fill that barn and try and get more than a 1-goal lead. But the powers that be decided whatever strategy they decided. But what are we looking like for tomorrow night, Simon?
Yeah, it's looking decent. I don't know exact numbers, but they're we're not disappointed with it. Again, Wednesday night and February is always difficult to fill, but we've got a brilliant fan base, so hopefully they turn out in numbers and make a big noise for sure.
What will be the difference maker here, Simon, going into this game against the Coventry Blaze? What do we need to do to overturn that against what is a decent side?
Everybody's got to turn up. When we look back at the games at the weekend, we're going to talk about the Nottingham Panthers game here at the minute. I thought we were brilliant on Saturday and Sunday. I thought we sort of lacked a bit of something, and Adam talks about in his interview after the game. And the Coventry Blaze, make no mistake about it, they're going to have everybody turn up tomorrow night, man on man. If you look at it from a perspective of line on line, man on man, I still fancy our chances. But we need to turn up tomorrow night. We can't have any passengers. You've got to get out there. It's this like you win the next 2 games in the Challenge Cup, you're a champion. You've won a trophy, and I know that's what we've got to be looking at. And we've got a lot of guys in this room that have won before, know what it takes to win. You see that the line of what Davy and I talked about the other day. When you look at the line of Conway, Piccinich, and David Goodwin, I think it's fair to say the start of the season they sort of found it a bit difficult to try and get going, and there just wasn't that much chemistry. I know the boys were split up at one point, but they know each other's game. I mean, JJ, we're going to talk to him shortly. JJ is really seemed to hit the ground running in January and February, and he's flying at the minute. Collins is he's just so smart. David Goodwin makes some really smart plays, but as I say, we can't afford for any passengers tomorrow night. This needs to be the full team effort. Is there one eye on Friday night against Cardiff? I hope not, because again, the Coventry Blaze will not be thinking anything past this game tomorrow night. And I genuinely believe the first goal tomorrow night could be absolutely crucial.
The highlights for this game available from our good friends at Blaze TV. Now, obviously, we've got 2 games to talk about with regards to the weekend, the Nottingham Panthers, but we're going to split that up and we're going to talk now to our guest. We just Simon just spoke of him there in the last in these games. He had an apple on Wednesday, a goal on Saturday, and 2 goals on Sunday against Nottingham. And please welcome back one of our friends here on A View from the Bridge, JJ Piccinich. How you doing, mate?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? There we go. Spot on, mate.
Is that better?
Spot on. Yes, all good, all good.
Wait, I don't think I can hear you guys. I can hear Kitcher.
not-
I don't think I can hear.
Can you not hear me? No. Can't
No,
hear
I
me.
can't
It's
hear.
just me. You need
I'd
to hear,
Simon lead the
JJ.
way. I got
Oh,
Simon lead the way.
no.
And I haven't spoken, so maybe you can.
Okay, well, I can hear you two. I think it's Pat. I
Can't hear
can't
me.
hear.
That's
Not
okay.
to worry about him. JJ, we're obviously, we're looking forward to a big game tomorrow night. The trophy that you've won a couple of times, and it's when you win, you want to keep on winning, and it's one of those things that we've got a lot of new guys in the room this year. It's not every league around the world that you can bring in an aggregate score, but we're only one goal down getting into this game tomorrow night. What's the feeling in the room? What's the group like coming off the big weekend in Nottingham?
Yeah, the feeling's good. Like we kind of know what we're up against with Coventry. We've seen them a lot recently, so we're down one, but we have no problem with it. I mean, the plan is to beat them at home anyway. So, whether that takes OT, whether we can do it in regulation, doesn't really matter. I think guys are in really positive spirits, so that's a good thing. And I think we'll be ready to go here tomorrow.
I just mentioned there a few minutes ago about the start of the season. Obviously the success that you, Cons and Goody have had over the last season as well. But looking at this year and looking at the way things have transpired, obviously you're split up. You're not on the same power play, but you've been split up earlier in the season. They've got you back together again. It just looks like you have started to click in the last 3 or 4 weeks. What's been the difference?
I'm not sure. I think like we always try and be as consistent as we can. I think hockey's kind of a game. It's a game. There's streakiness to it. Sometimes you're red hot, sometimes not so much. I think we've all kind of been trying to take care of our games and work hard off the ice to set us up for success. And I guess that, as you're saying, it maybe didn't quite manifest the way everyone maybe expected, but like you said recently, I think we've been playing well, and that's just a testament to us just staying the course, really, and just being as consistent as we can.
JJ, how important is it? Sort of a similar question to what Simon's asked in a slightly different angle. The veteran leadership, yourself, Scott, Goody, all these guys that have been Laker, Longer, all these guys that have been around the block have won things in Belfast. So when we're going into games like tomorrow night, when everything's on the line, 60 minutes is do or die here, that leadership of being there, done that, so important in the locker room.
Yeah, it's huge. Like that's kind of why we have the core that we have, is because the experience it's everything. Now we even guys that came here last year, Gooch, Mike, their experience is tenfold. So, we have a big crew of guys that know what it takes to win. So, we'll be harnessing every ounce of that energy tomorrow. That's for sure.
And winning's never a bad thing. Winning this one will be as sweet as winning the first one.
Yeah. I mean, it's you reset every year. You want every single one. Really, you're selfish in that way.
Let's very briefly look back over last weekend. It was probably, if you spoke to anybody on Saturday morning, Friday night, a split in Nottingham at this stage of the season, the way the table and stuff sits, it's not a bad outcome from the weekend.
No, it's not. I think it's like you really want Sundays back, to be honest with you. But again, the split's not bad. I think Sunday we just kind of ran out of gas a little bit, unfortunately. I think we learned, we're going to learn from it, which is the most important thing. But we probably put together a decent 40 minutes there, and then I think things just kind of started to unravel. Halfway, after probably 5 or 6 minutes into the third. So, it's tough, but it happens. I don't think we've lost a game regulation in a pretty long time. So, I mean, you try as hard as you can to be perfect, but when you fall a little short, then you realize, then you look back and you go, actually, this was a great run. So we got to get back on another one of those runs, and especially for tomorrow, for kind of a do or die situation.
Let's try again. Can you hear me? No, he definitely
No,
can't.
I can't hear. No.
Back you, says.
JJ, the Challenge Cup we've won it 5 times in the last 7 years. You just touch on being greedy, and once you get the taste for success, it is something that tastes a lot sweeter when you're drinking a bit of champagne or a bit of a beer out of it after the competition. But this is only the semi-final. This has got one step to get to the final, and you've got, again, obviously depending on which way things turn out. If we do win tomorrow night and we do get to the final, there is that chance of holding it again in Belfast if Nottingham beats Sheffield. So, there's that carrot dangling in front of you. How are you feeling personally about the challenge in front of you for tomorrow night?
I think for me, I'm just excited. Like I actually can't wait to get going. I think we're gonna make Coventry's hands pretty full here. We're gonna be coming at them in waves, so should make for a great game. And I think we're gonna be ready, and it's a do or die. So these are the games you kind of play for, because it's tonight or it's never. So and like I was saying before, all the guys are definitely feeling the same way. So it's gonna be a great night.
JJ, I don't want this to come across as an opportunity to throw any excuses about results out, but I was reading a bit of Twitter today, and some people were talking about, and I know it's the same for every team has to travel, but just the difference between maybe going to Nottingham at the weekend, sleeping in a strange bed, eating at strange times, just being out of sync. I know, speaking to Ben Freeman, that it's just that little change in routine for him had a bit of a knock-on effect for his first game, when he was eating, what he was drinking, at what time he was drinking, the travel effects. And we're away again on Friday, you're back on Sunday, you're away next week. The games come thick and fast. There's a lot of travel. So without making an excuse, can you just enlighten people as just the differences between being at home and being away?
Yeah, I mean, it is true. I guess the good teams find ways to not have that affect them. But yet it's like one of those things that, like you're saying, you're just a little bit off your scheduling, and sometimes, a flight gets delayed, or the ferry is delayed, or, there's all these things you can't control. And sometimes it's near impossible to not let it affect you. And like I was saying, the good teams, the good players are good at blocking that out. But nevertheless, there is always a little bit of factor there with it. So I guess what I'll say is it's nice to be home tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, listen, we'll have to let you go. Paddy isn't going to come back in here because you can't hear him anyway. So we'll wish you all the best.
My fault? Did I do something?
No. It's all
listen. Listen, JJ, don't apologize, because that means we could possibly make this about a 45-minute podcast.
Yes,
he just keeps it going for like an hour and a half every single week.
Me and Kitch want this done and dusted. So good luck tomorrow night. Good luck on Friday, and we'll talk to you down the road, man.
Cheers, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, JJ.
Thanks to JJ, even if you couldn't hear me. Well done, boys. I quite like having a bit of a back seat there. Enjoyed that. Very much. Let's get stuck into the 2 games of Nottingham Panthers. Let's get Saturday's game, which was a 4-2 victory for the Giants. Here's the coaches.
Well, I thought it was a close game. Look, fine margins in these games. Third period there, we don't get a puck out. Ends up, they hit the bar, goes down in the net. We hit a bar later, it goes out. I think tough start to the game there, killing off 3 right away in the first period. Not ideal, obviously. It gets you on the back foot a little bit, and certain guys are parked on the bench during those kills. And but second period, I thought we were much better. Didn't like giving up that second one there, just kind of from nothing. off a rush. I think we just overtracked there, and we're not heavy enough in the net front. And Whistle gets to a second puck, but a great job coming out in the third. I thought we put him under some fire. Alfie gets a big tying goal there, and then like I said, third goal, just a couple pucks on our sticks that we just don't make hard enough plays, and it doesn't get out, sorry, and back of the net, and that's the difference in the hockey game. And I thought we had some looks there to tie the game, and unfortunately couldn't find a way through. But it's such fine margins in these games, and unfortunately we're on the wrong end.
Well, first of all, I thought it was a great game. Hockey, obviously a playoff style, obviously a lot at stake for both teams. I thought Nottingham was very good, had a lot of good pushbacks. We bent a little bit there. I thought Gravy made some big saves. Thought the guys were competing for it defensively as well as offensively, and that's what you need this time of year. I thought everybody played a part tonight. It took us a while there. I thought we had a fantastic first period, and it took us a while to kind of really solve Carr. And obviously, we had to do that with, not to be, I guess, some of the pretty goals. It was, shots and rebounds and pucks in and around his feet and stuff like that. But obviously a very big goal from JJ there. That's a shot that, those are the ones we call the pretty ones. And obviously that gets us the go ahead, and Brandon seals it with his hat trick goal there in the empty net. So, some good performances from some guys. So we need guys to step up every night, different characters. But I thought everybody played a part tonight, and that's what we want to see at this time of the year. Very tough building to come into against a very good hockey team. We're aware of that. I liked our effort from start to finish, and so I'm happy that obviously we got through it, because if a couple more of those go in, we maybe come out of that game with at least 1 point or no points, and I would have been real gutted for the players if that had happened.
Nottingham Panthers goals were scored by Noel Vulcan and Matt Alfaro. Belfast Giants goals were scored by Brandon Whistle on the power play. Brandon Whistle again. JJ Piccinich with a lovely finish. And Brandon Whistle with a hat-trick goal. The goalies were Kevin Carr, Alexi Gravel. The referees were Matt Rose and Tom Perring. This is the Saturday's game, Simon, and let's go straight to it. I don't think I would have found a dodgy Far Eastern bookie to take a bet on Brandon Whistle scoring a hat-trick. Well done to him.
I don't know. I mean, again, Brandon's had a difficult season.
He has.
When you look at what's that?
He has had a difficult season.
But when you're playing, I'm not talking Brandon down, but what I'm trying to say is when you're playing,
I'm saying it was unexpected. I wouldn't say it. I'm sorry.
David Dugan or Scott Conway, and if you get into the right spots, they're going to make it easy for you. Collins and Goody are so smart, and they don't quit, and they make the and David, if David gets scared, you probably got a hat trick in games this season if you're playing with them too. That's a big ask, but you know what I mean. But look, you've got to be in the right spots to get the chances, and Brandon was obviously there on Saturday, and he came out with his game of the season. Make no mistake about it, and to get that first one and in a very difficult building to go into. Nottingham are a good team. They've played very, very well this year. They're sitting top of the league for much of the season before, we took over from them. And, when you look at the week before, they were struggling for a couple of games. And you come in and you get a doubleheader at home against the league leaders. Of course, they're going to step up. I thought the Saturday night game was really, really good. I thought we really turned up. I thought we controlled the play. When you get the go-ahead goal in Nottingham, they get one back, you go ahead again, they get one back, and then obviously ultimately the JJ gets a goal, and what a finish that was at the start of the third period. It was absolutely outstanding. And they get that fourth goal, empty netter, sort of a wee bit of insurance with a couple of minutes to go. It just gives you a big bit of relief coming back onto the bench again. So real solid performance. But you knew when we won on Saturday night that you knew that the Panthers were going to come with an extra 10% on the Sunday night. It's just the way you turn up in your own building, and they've had a really good success rate in the building this year, and they're a tough team to beat for sure. So you asked the question earlier on, and Davey, I think, mentioned it. If somebody had offered me 2 points before the weekend, I'd have probably took them. And I said, actually, we were talking about it in the office on Friday. As much as you want to go into Nottingham and win both games, if you give us 2 points getting into that weekend against one of the best teams in the league, I'd have took the 2 points.
Good, seen by quite a few traveling fans, which was really good to see as well.
Really
Davey, you were on the bench for this. What was the atmosphere like? What do you think the guys took away from this game?
I think you can get blinded by recency bias. I'm one of them. I think this was one of our Saturday night, one of our best performances of recent times. Really physical. We came out with a real jump. We drew 3 penalties early, forced them on the back foot, silenced what is notoriously a quiet enough crowd anyway. But there was 7,000 or whatever in the crowd.
Didn't come across.
I thought, in fairness, when we got that 4th goal, I thought they were all playing dummies meeting.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. We've managed to silence the crowd. We've come out really physical. We've won that game 3 times. 1-0, 1-0, as Simon said, 2-1, 2-8, 3-2, and then a lovely finish from JJ. I think it's Scott Conway plays it up the ice. They did a good one, a really smart play. Flips across to JJ, who seals the deal for us. Really strong. I'm never going to be disappointed with a win in the NIC. 3 times we've been there this season. We've taken 4 out of 6 points. We've still got to play them twice, and all this feels like now is it's one more game ticked off, and it's against one of your rivals ticked off. Their points now in the bank, and you move on to the next night. They were always going to come with a bit more jump and a bit more jam. That's how it worked out. And as JJ said himself there, I know we'll come on the game. We just kind of sort of saying to him in that piece there, we ran out of a wee bit of steam, and that's all factored into travel and sleeping in hotels and eating at funny times. And but back to Saturday, really, really good performance. Brandon Whistle hat trick, not to be sniffed at. It's the first one I've had to record as a Belfast Giant for a Whistle getting a hat trick. So another one for the Whistle family storybook in Belfast. We've had plenty of shutouts. Say it was just the other week that Jackson went level all time in the 2nd place, level with Besco in 2nd place behind Stephen Murphy. But now his dad's been a coach, his brother's shutouts, and now he's got a hat trick to his name. So the Whistle name's doing well, and it's always going to be remembered in Belfast.
I'm going to justify my first question to Simon Kitchen over Brandon Whistle's hat trick. I wasn't disparaging. I was basically saying that given the season he had so far and how difficult it had been, the fact that he had come, I would never have thought of him coming in here and scoring a hat trick. Delighted to see him take it because I thought he's been playing really well the last few weeks, and I think that he deserved every single one of those. Like you say, the fact that the first one was assisted by Conway and Goodwin, the second one was Smith and Bast, and then the third one was the empty netter. But again, you got to take these opportunities.
Brandon's coming off a couple of bad injuries this season. Yep. It was early December when he went out. We were away to Coventry. He took warm up and couldn't take the rest of the game. Missed. It must be 6 or 7 weeks he missed, and he's came back. He's been great. He's playing also special teams. He's playing power plays, playing penalty kill. He's taking big face-offs and big moments of the game. He's heavily relied on as a key player in this lineup, and there's no doubt that fella has got game. It's just getting it out of him on a repetition now will be, this is you set the bar for yourself sometimes. So you set the bar high on Saturday night, so he needs to keep it going. Fair play to him.
Simon, one of the goals being pulled under review. It was given initially, it got pulled back, and then on a coach's challenge was called against for goalie interference. Give us your thoughts.
Davey had a better view than what we did. See when the goaltender and you get pushed into the goaltender by a defenseman, it should not be a disallowed goal. Longer's pushed in there by the defenseman or by the forward. I can't remember which one it was. Can he make an effort to stop it? Probably. But you're going to take advantage of it. You're going to try and basically, let it fall over. The referees in this league are, they're always going to, not always, but 99% of the time, they're going to go the way of the goaltender in that situation. I thought the goal, if it had been allowed, it probably would have been, a major talking point. And the score at that point, we were 2-1 up. Was it, Davey, or was it 2-2? I think we were 2-1 up, weren't we, when it was disallowed? But, the referee's right on the spot there. And then when you actually look at it, Kevin Carr looks up, just coming in there. He's pushing it. Look, he's pushing Kieran Long out of the way.
That's not.
And then he actually tries. Sorry,
that's not what it's disallowed for.
No, I understand that. But when you look at this wee bit here, He tries to hit him with a blocker, and
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. If you had a player with your blocker, it's a suspension. Yes, it's a match penalty and a game ban.
If the goal was allowed against us, I'd have been raging. So it's probably the right decision.
It's one of those. It was very confusing on the night because the goal is given on the ice.
Yes.
It's then reviewed. After a few minutes of chat, the referees decide to review it themselves. They come back on the ice and give the goal, point to center ice and give the goal, at which point Danny Stewart then brings in his coach's challenge. And they go back off and review the goal and within 10 seconds go, no goal. So my understanding is, seen a tweet from Chris Ellis.
I was just about to say, Chris Ellis tweeted about this. I was looking for it.
So the initial goal is chalked off the initial goal was reviewed by the refs for the net being off. And they said, no, the net was pushed off, but the puck went through where the net would have been. So it's a good goal. The coaches chant, they're not allowed, referees, for whatever reason, in this crazy world, is they're not allowed to review goaltender interference. And as Kieran Long is going down the ice on the first rush, he hits Carr's stick. And so at that point, it should have blew the whistle, called it dead or whatever. According to Chris Ellis, this is that they reviewed then for goaltender interference and it was chalked off for goal interference. So a whole lot of the referees should just be allowed to review for goalie interference as well. It's just mad that the coaches have to challenge that directly.
I agree with you. I think it's weird given that they'll check for a number of things, but the actual overhead camera will show on the whole, if there is goalie interference there, because you'll be able to see where everybody is. You'll probably be able most sort of touches on the goalie. Why can't that be part of the review or one of the things that they point out? Like you say, Chris Ellis's tweet, as you mentioned, I got clarity on this last night. The officials cannot look for goaltender interference. It can only come from a coach's challenge. The officials were looking at the displacement of the net. It does seem random, but it's all part of having a coach's challenge in place. Maybe that's something that just needs to be reviewed, but then that's a sort of the end of the season thing. Anyway, at the end of the day, it was a 4-2 win for the Belfast Giants, and we move on to Sunday's game, which was a 5-3 defeat. Coaches?
Yeah, of course. I wasn't unhappy with our performance last night either, but I think we just found that extra 10% tonight. I felt like puck battles, puck races, we wanted it just a little bit more than we did last night, and essentially I think that was the difference. And we scored 5 goals. It certainly helps. And I can't praise the guys enough. I think a couple momentum shifts there. That we could have lost our way. We came out first period, I thought, obviously with some urgency. Got the first goal, which we wanted to do, get the building involved, and I thought up until the kind of that first goal for them, 16-17 minute mark, we played a really good hockey game. Again, had to kill a couple penalties in the first period. It's never ideal, but 2 nights in a row there, you're on your back heels, but. We give one up there, and then we give the second one up too, just again kind of from nothing. And came in the break and just told the guys, like, what, we deserve more than what that score suggests. So just reset, let's go again. Win this period, and credit to the guys. They went out in the second period and played a heck of a period, and we earned that 3-2 lead, and then. Great character by the guys. You give up 15 seconds in there for them to tie it. Again, could have dropped the heads. But we didn't. Showed some maturity, some character there. Big goal by Fosta to get us back in the lead, and then beautiful play by that line, and Timmy finishes that off to give us a little bit of a cushion. And from there, I just loved our game. I think D blocked a few shots there towards the end. Forwards were gaining lines. We were getting pucks in behind and staying above the puck and just seeing that game through. And when things did break down, Jason again was great and solid for us. So great team performance.
Well, I thought we got what we deserved tonight. We weren't very good at all. I thought we probably had maybe a handful of guys play pretty good tonight, and then the rest of them just had some bad nights, and it's tough to win when you have that many guys have that many bad nights. It is what it is. I thought we still, the frustrating bit is I thought we still could have at least gotten a point out of that game if we had just tightened up a little bit there defensively, and we just couldn't do it. We just had too many guys, like I said, that weren't at the races tonight. When that happens against a very good team like Nottingham, you let them back into it. We give up 4 rush goals, 2 breakaway goals. Just it's not a recipe for winning. It's on us.
Goals for Nottingham Panthers came from Mitch Fossier, Chase Pearson, Didrik Heilbrandt, Mitch Fossier again, and then Tim Doherty. For the Belfast Giants, I'll not sing it, Davy. Nicholas Gay, and 2 from JJ. Jason Grande and Alexi Gravel were the goalkeepers, and Tom Perring and the Austrian referee Andres Huber were your officials. We heard there, Davy, from Adam. He wasn't happy. He thought it was a very poor performance. Why was it a poor performance?
Dare I disagree? I thought we definitely tailed off badly in the third period. Well, the second half of the second period and the third period, despite coming out with that little bit of jump and getting the tie-up goal, I think JJ used the term unravel. It started to unravel a little bit, and just the momentum. How often do we talk about momentum in hockey? Just once the ice tilted a little bit, we just didn't have anything left. It seemed in the legs. There wasn't as good a performance as it was from sort of, and Adam mentioned about getting something out of every player the night before, and in Coventry during the week. Not every player had their best game of the season, and you've got to go in the NIC. You got to have everybody fired. You can't have guys just not playing their A game, and unfortunately, it just looked a little like just a lack of energy towards the end of the game, and maybe mine started switching to the next game. Just we just couldn't get going again. Fossier did really well for them. Chase Pearson coming. They've now guys. They're going to take points off rivals down and saying, can they win the league? I don't know. Can they be kingmakers? Or I don't know. But they're definitely going to have a say in where the titles end up.
Simon, I thought that, especially you see this goal here and the breakaways that Nottingham had. We talked earlier about the game against Coventry. If you don't take your grade A chances, then you're going to suffer. Nottingham got those grade A's and they took them in this game.
And that's the difference in the game. Adam said there about 4 odd man rushes, and then obviously when you're giving up that many breakaways or that many chances of clear through on the goaltender, it's going to be a difficult night for you. Look, the bottom line is every time you get an interview with Adam Keefe, he'll tell you the truth. He nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. I actually thought we run out of gas. I thought we looked tired especially Davey touched on it there, second and third period. I thought we looked tired. It's been a long season. It's been a long season for everybody, but it's been a long season. We've played short-handed an awful lot this season with regards to guys being out injured. But now is not the time to start feeling tired. This is the time that you need to get your rest. I mean, even today, there was only a few boys on the ice that got the optional skate that basically wanted to, get everybody ready to go rested, get ready to basically play tomorrow night. So it's all about getting prepared and the preparation. If Adam thought that the boys should get away without practicing the rest of the season and just concentrate on games, that's exactly what they'll do. So it's about getting prepared and getting ready to go. And when you get those chances, especially starting tomorrow night, when you get those chances, you need to bloody take them, because the Coventry Blaze, are going to be coming tomorrow night ready to go. And Panthers turned up on Sunday night after their defeat at home in front of 7,500 people on Saturday night. So it was always going to be a difficult game. But the most important thing for us was, picking up at least 2 points coming out of that weekend, because if we'd have been in there and the Panthers had got all 4 points off us, that's a big challenge to go into for the upcoming games that we have. Nothing's getting easier here. The games are just going to get thicker and they're going to come very, very fast against you. So it's it was disappointing not to play for 60 minutes, but it is what it is. Suck it up and get ready to go tomorrow night.
I think we've been put in a position, and we're in a fortunate position given where we are in the league and given our successes over the last number of months, and certainly over Christmas, that taking points from this weekend was much more important for the Nottingham Panthers than it was for us. Obviously, we needed to we wanted 4 points. We got 2, which I think was the minimum that we needed. but Nottingham absolutely needed something from this weekend to stay in touch and distance and to give them sort of belief in the stretch. And to be fair to them, I thought they were very good in this game. And I thought that, I agree with both you gents. I thought that especially certainly in the third period and on large portions of the second, we looked like we were taking some shadows. And that's going to be tough. But, that's just the way the game is sometimes. Sometimes you get the point, sometimes you take the, I think I put it on Twitter, you take the L, you learn from it, because there are a hell of a lot of big games. We know the game that's taking place on Wednesday night against the Coventry Blaze is massive in regards to the Challenge Cup. But then we go in straight out of that. We're over to Cardiff for the team who are second, third in the league, and in a massive game at their place. Then back to our place for a game against Dundee, and that the games will just keep coming and coming and coming. Now there must be 16 games left in this season, and of those games, I think we have 8 at home, 9 at home, and 7 away. And once again, there we have a position where we have we can win this by playing in front of our own fans and take as much as we can away from home. The games that are coming now, like you just said it there, Simon, thick and fast. With the Belfast Giants, with the prize for the Belfast Giants being winning 4 league titles out of 5 league titles out of 6. Certainly, it's something remarkable over the last while. This is a big prize for us, and I'm pretty happy with the split, to be honest with you, because I never like going into the NIC. I always have bad memories of some of the games we've had in there. Some of the times where we thought we were really, really strong coming away with the loss. Credit to Danny. Credit to the Nottingham Panthers to remain in touch and distance. But we now turn our focus to Wednesday night. We've got just taking a little step back to our conversation there. We have a comment from somebody who seems to be using a friend of ours who seems to be using his Sunday name, Jonathan Bullard. I don't know who Jonathan Bullard. We're talking about the coach's challenge. It's because the coach's challenge has the jeopardy of a penalty if the challenge is unsuccessful. I understand that, Jono. I think the point I have is why 100% that the coaches can challenge for the goalie interference. But surely if we're watching and we're assessing, the referee are assessing a goal to see if it's a goal as part of the referee's own challenge, they should be able to say, well, actually, goalie interference is why I've stopped, because they would call goalie interference. If they call goalie interference and wave it off straight away, then that's that. If they're assessing it as part of a referee's challenge or referee's assessment of the goal, they should still be able to call goalie interference, which they didn't do here. Absolutely, coach's challenge has the penalty if the challenge is unsuccessful. I'm well aware of that. But I think that when the referees are doing their own assessment, they should be allowed to make an assessment for goalie interference to wave off a goal. But good to have you joining in there, John.
He's at Alton Towers. He was asked to come on, but he said, "Oh no, go to Alton Towers." But so he's enjoying his time at Alton Towers, watching the view from the bridge. Big show, biggest show in the country.
Nice to have you, John. I hope you went to the Roller Coaster Cafe. Have you ever been to the Roller Coaster Cafe or Roller Coaster Restaurant in Alton Towers? The food's absolutely terrible, but it comes to you on a big roller coaster around the place. It's
never been to Alton Towers.
Never been to Alton Towers, mate.
I've been to Alton Towers.
Good fun. That's good fun.
Take your word for it.
But the highlights from this game are from Mr. Jonathan Bullard and Ringer on Panthers TV. And well, we look at where we are now, boys. We're going into this game on Friday. Obviously, the big game is on Wednesday night, but we've got another big game coming on Friday against the Cardiff Devils. And the Devils themselves took 2 points from the weekend. And I think just looking at this title race, given like I said, says we got 16 games remaining, or in around 16 games remaining, we're obviously in a good place. We've got a strong lead. We've got to hold that lead. And I'm actually going to do something that I don't normally do. I think I was wrong about the Sheffield Steelers a few weeks ago, saying that I thought they were out of it. They have come on thick and fast, just to do with points, 4 point weekend after 4 point after 4 point weekend. We have a title race on the go here.
No, absolutely. And, it's when you said it, I was having a bit of a snigger over it, and they're far from it. And look, you know what? If you look, I don't know if you can put the standings back up there again. We come into this weekend, we're still 4 points ahead of the Cardiff Devils. We were 5 points ahead of the Sheffield Steelers. They got an extra point against back against us from where they were, and the Panthers obviously dropped down now. They're 6 points behind, so we've a game in hand against Cardiff and Sheffield. But the Cardiff Devils game on Friday night is going to be a tough ask. 2 games in 3 days. Obviously with big game tomorrow night against the Blaze, but that's the back of the boys' minds. That's all concentrate on Wednesday night. But this is definitely going to go down to the wire. Is it going to go down as close to the wire what it was last year, the last game, the last period, coming into the last 5 minutes of the game? You just never know. I certainly
because we play the Coventry Blaze, mate, and the Coventry Blaze are renowned for stopping people on their own ice from winning the league. Let's hope it doesn't come down to that.
Well, hopefully it doesn't go that far. It's when you look at your home form. Our home form this year has been outstanding, but we need to keep that going. There's no point in getting this far into the season and then all of a sudden, just taking a night off. We can't do that. I expect a reaction tomorrow night from the boys, and it's going to be a tough ask. This going into these games, you talk about Friday night, and then we're out at home on Sunday, and then the following weekend we play Sheffield on the Friday, and then away to Fife on the Sunday, and then the following week you've got the Cardiff Devils for 2 at home, and then 2 away to Sheffield, and then back the following week 2 home and away to Glasgow, and then home to Nottingham for the fall. These games are not going to be easy coming in, and hopefully there is another game to throw into the mixer for the Challenge Cup final. Everybody wants that. So it's going to be a tough ask. But make no mistake about it, there's still a lot of teams that are going to beat each other. I mean, Fife are still going to pick up the odd, maybe a couple of wins before now and the end of the season. Dundee are going to play a major part in it. Glasgow, Manchester, everybody's going to want to win as many games as they possibly can. They want to get up those numbers in the league itself. But it's going to be a tough ask. Manchester are only 8 points behind Nottingham now, and they've got to play Nottingham 3 times. So, Manchester could end up getting in the top 4. You just never know.
It's quite obviously, with all due respect to Fife and the problems that they are certainly having both on and off the ice at this moment in time, and Dundee, who we play on Sunday, who are at times can be a tough task. But and now I had a back and forth earlier on with Johnny Curran, who's moved up from the after being released by the Nottingham Panthers. He's now, we wanted to get him on tonight, but he didn't have his laptop. But so Dundee will be wanting to sort of probably have a bit of pride in what they're doing and still be on that chase for the 8th place. It might not statistically be on them, but it might be difficult for them to get, but they'll be wanting at it. There are up and down the division, David. There are many different problems, and there are many different stumbling blocks there for the Belfast Giants in these last number of weeks.
There are indeed, Patrick. I don't know if you want me to expand on that.
I'm going with Sunday names after Jonathan Bullard got in touch with us.
Oh, Jonathan Bullard, yes. But yeah, there's still 16 games. That's a lot of hockey. We've Cardiff 3 times, Nottingham again twice. With Sheffield 3 times. So we're playing all one, and so that's going to be a massive weekend as well. Nothing worth winning was ever, done easy, came easy. So, if you're going to win it, you're going to be the best team over 54 games, and that's worth celebrating. So this is why we do this for this time of year. It's the old Man United through the 90s and whenever they were winning. This is when they came alive, Paddy.
And I'll stick with you, Davy, in this as well. But can we just have a bit of a word for Alexei Gravel, because obviously Wiss had been getting the start after start, and Gravy wasn't really getting it. He has come in now, he played more or less those 3 games on the bounce and did very well with that.
Yeah, give us an opportunity. Obviously, Jake came in and played the 1 game against. Got my book in front of me here. 5, wasn't it? He played against.
Yes, 4-3 win.
Yes,
4-3 win. Jake played in 4-3 win. And then, Alexei Gravel came in. Give us a chance to win, and give us a chance to take something out of the playoffs or the Challenge Cup semi-finals for play. Got a W on Saturday night in the NIC. Not many goalies go there and get W's, so fair play to him for that. Sunday, another, made some big saves in the game. Key points in the game went against us. So, he's done well in those last 3 games. I don't know what happens going forward here. I don't know. Says might be able to tell us more on that, but I thought he had a really good weekend. It's difficult. There's talk about, I think me and Simon talked about the other day, the difference between training and playing games is huge. And, for a long time there, Alexei was either on the bench or a healthy scratch or whatever, wasn't playing a lot of minutes, and to be thrown in the cup semi-final and then 2 massive games against away to Nottingham, and to come away with a win and a close loss in a cup semi-final, he's done himself okay.
Simon?
Look, we've got 3. We've got 4 goalies. Jackson's picked up an injury, and Cup's been assigned for cover and making sure we're trying to put ourselves in the best possible position. Gravy's been called upon this weekend, and you just need to be ready. It's the same as the guys who are left out of the lineup in the the skaters, and there's going to be guys left out who don't want to be left out, and that's exactly the one that you want to do. Why is Jasmine chirping me? She's
Jasmine, big shout to Jasmine Kitchen. I'll need to use that iron board when I'm home, Dad. Leave it up. Nice one. The bottom. I mean, Davy just said on there about Gravy having a good weekend. He did. I thought he played well, and when you're out of the lineup and you're coming back in, yes, you're practicing hard, but it's not just about practicing. Ultimately, he gets paid to stop pucks. People are saying that it's Jackson's been playing. I said this a few weeks ago when we were talking about, even 2 weeks, about a week before the end of January, that I said that Jackson, doesn't make a difference who else anybody thinks should be getting man of the match or player of the month, for January. It's got to be Jackson Whistle. And Adam, in my opinion, has done exactly the right thing. He went with a hot goalie. Jackson was on fire in January. He was absolutely outstanding. And obviously, again, unfortunately, he's picked up an injury, and Gravy's been called upon, and he turned up. Saturday was a big game for him. Sunday was a big game for him. Tomorrow night's going to be a big game. So it's you just need to be ready to go when called upon, and it's exactly the same with Garrett McFadden, who was left out at the weekend. Josh Roach was left out the week before. You've got Carson Torinsky, who was left out before he picked up the injury as well. So you've all these guys who hopefully want to get back in the lineup and they want to play. That's exactly what you're looking for as a coach and as anybody involved in hockey. And as a fan, you want guys who want to get out there and help their teammates. So hopefully, as I say, it's going to be a big ask, and whoever starts tomorrow night, whether they're on the ice or in the goal, as long as they're all getting ready to go and we get a full team performance, I'll be happy enough. 3 games for Belfast Giants in the next 7 days. We are at home in the second leg of the Challenge Cup semi-final. The Coventry Blaze on Wednesday night at the SSE Arena at 7 p.m. It's only a 1-goal deficit, 3-2 to the Coventry Blaze. It's going to be a massive game. Get yourself down there. How do we look earlier on about tickets? Because I have a couple of friends who are over in Belfast, and I was seeing if they were able to get to the game. So I was really looking. The tickets are going very quickly. Trying to get 4 seats together was a bit of a struggle, but they got them. So they're in attendance. But it's get yourself down there. That's going to be a massive game. It's going to be brilliant to see. And if you can't get to the game, obviously Giants TV is where you'll get that. We're away on Friday night, 7 p.m. at the Kyle Bawn Arena to take on the Cardiff Devils. You get that on Devils TV with Gaz Hughes and co. And then back to the SSE Arena on Sunday for the Dundee Stars. Is this the last Dundee Stars game? Is this the last one? Have we finally got there? Can we finally chuck off the Dundee Stars?
Unless we get them in the playoff.
Yeah, that's it.
I would think that would need a minor miracle, unfortunately, for our good friend of the show, Martin Febb. I just don't see that gap somehow being closed for Stars and Fife.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's it's 16 points, 16-point gap they have to make up between them and the 8th place currently. But the final visit of the Dundee Stars of the season potentially on Sunday at 4 p.m. If you're not making down to that, again, our friends at Giants TV. Any other business, boys?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's seen it last night, that the incident in the States, Rhode Island, and the high school game, and
horrible.
Somebody coming out and shooting people. And honest to God, the States need to do something about this. This is absolutely terrible. And just pass our condolences on to anybody who's lost loved ones, and And it's just horrendous what happened over there for kids to go to. We talked about going to a football match and never coming home, and going to a hockey match and never coming home is not acceptable. And our thoughts are with anybody who's lost anyone at that game. It's just absolutely horrendous.
Horrible one for the hockey world for that,
Yeah.
and some that just. Yeah,
I don't watch the news. We were talking about it in the office today, and I had a wee look at it after that. I can't fathom what's destroyed people's heads sometimes, and you never know what other people are dealing with. I understand that, but for that to happen at a hockey game for that to happen anywhere is unbearable. But at a hockey match for a sport we all love, it's just horrendous.
Anything from yourself, David?
No, Barry, not going to comment on that.
Okay. Well,
just how do we look there at the fixture list? So we've got 3 games against Sheffield, 2 games against Cardiff, and 2 games against Nottingham. Sheffield have got obviously 3 against us, 3 against Cardiff, and 2 against Nottingham. And Cardiff have got 2 for us, 3 for Sheffield, and 2 for Nottingham. So Nottingham technically have the easier run in because they've only faced the top 3 6 times. The other ones have got 7 games against each other. But as I said 2 minutes ago, there's other teams involved in this. There's other teams that are going to want to beat the champions, and there's going to want to beat the prospective champions. There's a long, long, long way to go.
Yep.
And it's one game at a time.
A lot of hockey to be played, boys. A lot of hockey to be played between now and April. And no doubt, with the Belfast Giants being as they are, they'll be wanting to retain that Elite League title and that Challenge Cup. And that Challenge Cup, the hope to retain that Challenge Cup continues tomorrow night and Wednesday night against the Coventry Blaze. And let's hope we can overturn that 1-goal deficit. Best of luck to the boys. Gents, if that's it, then we'll just wrap things up. Big thanks to JJ Piccinich for coming and joining us on the show. Like I say, Wednesday against the Coventry Blaze, Friday away at the Carlbon Arena against the Cardiff Devils, and then back home to face the Dundee Stars. Get yourselves those games if you can. If not, you'll get them on Giants TV. You'll get them on Devils TV on Friday night. Big thanks to Mr. Kitchen and to Mr. McJimsey. Always good to see you. It's always good to talk hockey. And to everybody who's been tuning in and sending their messages through. We really do appreciate that. We hope that Jono's had a lovely time at Alton Towers and he's got his voice back because he's got a big game tomorrow night as well. It's the Nottingham against Sheffield in the other semi-final of the Challenge Cup. And that's their first leg. You can get us on X. You can get us on Facebook, Instagram, kingdomofthegiants.com, and all the usual sort of podcast providers. And on that note, wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge. See ya.